Your president is watching. America is watching. But more important, Godfather is watching. Make no mistake, there will be no fuck-ups. Marines around this world would give they left nuts to be where you are. Anybody not want to go? Marines, kill on 3. 1, 2, 3. Kill!
Born to those who pledged their lives in sacred honor, was smiled upon by God and freed from chains and iron collar. He is held aloft on unity and by history revered, for preserving peace through strength his wings now reach across 200 years. But for each of those in 1 year more, God has smiled upon the core, from the Barbary coast to the eastern sand, by sword, by gun, or by bare hand. So it's been and shall be weighed. Though many are born, few are made. Faithful always they shall remain. Dogs to loose when war is waged. With a need to bleed you when the light goes green. Best believe I'm in the zone to be. From my yin to my yang to my yang to see. Put a grin on my chin. Come to me cause I'll win. I'm one of a kind and I'll bring death to the place you're about to be. Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in the fire that long ago. Stand next to me, you'll never stand alone. Last to leave, but the first to go. Hardcore is the only way I know. I'm free on the fear of the devil inside of the enemy faces in my sight. Aim with a hand, shoot with a mind, kill with a heart like Arctic ice. I am a devil dog, I'm marching on. I am a devil dog, I'm marching on. I am a warrior, and this is my song. I am a warrior, and this is my song. I'm back in the glow of the rising war, lay waste to the ground of the enemy's shore. Wait till the blood spilled on the floor, and if another one's dead, I'll kill some more. Bullet in the breach and a fire in me, like a cigarette thrown in gasoline. If death don't bring you fear, then death ain't brought by no Marine. Come to the nightmare, come to me. Deep down in the dark where the devil lives, in the wall with the jaws and the razor teeth, where the brimstone burns and the angel wings. the air with a head held high. I'll stand in the path of the enemy line. Feel no fear, know my pride. For God and country I'll end your life. I am a devil dog, I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song. Hell has no demon I won't overcome. Never forget that. I am a warrior and this is my song. I'll make the devil himself turn and run. I am a warrior and this is my song. Into the fire I will keep marching on. Hoorah! Marine Corps, get some!
Speak to the brig, so I can see the real Marines.
Good night, Chesty, wherever you are.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cold War Radio, live from studio number 1. That means we're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr., your host, deep down in the broadcast bunker. Please follow me on Spreaker, like the Facebook page, facebook.com/Cold War Radio 22. The email to the show, scrtv@live.com. Cold War Radio patron hotline, 412-206-6208. The podcast or otherwise voicemail, 412-567-1460. If you want to catch the podcast, you go to the 405media.com. That's streaming at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. You can get it on demand everywhere else. iHeartRadio, the Cold War Radio app, free in your app store, and YouTube that's fully transcribed. That means it has captions. Go to SteelCityResistance.com and become a Cold War Radio patron. Catch the research room and the video page, which has the videos of most of the audio clips that we play here on the radio show. If you want to write to the program, write to Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 10433, 370 Castle Shannon Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15234. I'm going to swing over to my east and hope that nobody is hostilely taking over the studio at Ward Miller's place. Hello, Ward.
Hey, Hutch, how are we doing tonight?
Doing good. I hear all kind of activity over there.
There's always activity over here, man. It's craziness. And it never happens. I never get anything happening like that until I'm ready to record. Until we're ready to record or whatever, because it's like at 5 to 8. Somebody will start jackhammering or something.
Oh, yeah. I know all about it. It's especially prevalent when we've had co-hosts from New York City. That's you're bound to hear a siren every show. No doubt about it. All right, on our challenge.
That's not far from the truth here because I have a firehouse right up the street.
That's true. You do. On our patron challenge, we're up to 28, holding steady at 28. We need to get to 40. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a shout out or request. If any of you are listening, either live or via podcast, from outside the United States, in other words, GIs, but not limited to GIs, but I'm reaching out. If you're listening to this show while you're deployed, you're my favorite people. I mean, we've had that over the years, Ward. We've had it over the years where, we got reports from places we weren't supposed to be and things of that nature. I have a real bond with anybody that's overseas, especially this time of year. And you know the feeling.
Absolutely.
This is it.
Family.
This is when GIs hurt themselves. Is this time of year, especially the younger ones that haven't been away from home. And I feel for you all, and I'd love to make you a part of the Cold War Radio family. So if you are listening to the show, thank you for one thing, and please let us know. Send an email, scrtv@live.com. I'd love to commemorate you and maybe try to make your holiday a little bit better while you're away from home. I think that's real important. Like I said, we've had people on the show that followed the show. I remember when Rocky first came on board, there were people out there in Iraq and just some great people that listen to the show all the time. I wonder if there's any left. I do. I really do. Please, if you are in that category, send us an email. I'd love to know. It's just one of those things, Ward, Now,
absolutely.
We had a guest lined up, and that didn't work out, but that's all right because we're professional. So it gives us more time to talk about some of the things that are going on, and they're really disturbing. I mean, I tried to watch that hearing a little bit today, and I couldn't do it, man. It's like you're saying the same things over and over.
Well, it was completely stupid. I mean, they have the two attorneys from both sides of the aisle.
And who in the hell picked ours?
Questioning them.
Who picked ours? This Curious George-looking guy. I mean, he's doing okay.
He's been doing really good.
He has.
I've been impressed with his questions and whatnot. But yeah, when I heard them saying that these were going to be the witnesses, I'm like, what in the hell can they give witness to? Now, the guy from the Democrat side can give witness to the underhanded crap that Adam Schiff's done. But and he got called on it. Did you see that?
I heard about it. Yeah.
Who got him out? It wasn't Radcliffe. It was
probably Gates. Probably Gates.
No, it wasn't Gates. It was the
Collins.
Collins got him and said, "Okay, either you or Adam Schiff released the records of a congressman. Which one of you did it?
Right.
And remember, you're under oath."
The whole thing is, and I'm going to wind this. I'm gonna guide us through this tangled web they've weaved, or woven or whatever. But it's not going to end happy. But we're going to try to get through some of the things. I want to highlight. I'm noticing that not the establishment Republicans. They're worthless. We need to vote them out. But I'll talk about that later. But some of the new media. There was a gentleman named Owen Schroyer, and apparently he works for what's Alex Jones InfoWars.
Okay.
And he was in the audience, and we're starting to feel our oats a little bit. We're starting to get, and I'm included with this. I've had enough of laying down. These Republicans are worthless, man. A lot of them. Now there are some that are becoming well known, and that's a good thing. But I want you to listen to Owen Schroyer. By the way, he got arrested and put in jail for this. He's since been released, I'm pretty sure. But let's listen to him right at the beginning of the hearing.
From counsels for the majority and the minority of this committee. Order in the room. Order in the room. Order in the committee room.
We voted for Donald Trump, and they're simply removing it because they don't like it. Americans are sick of their impeachment scandal. They're sick of the Democrat treason. We know who committed the crime, and it wasn't Trump. Trump is innocent.
The committee will come to order.
Yeah. I think there's going to be more and more of that, and I think especially after the lackluster IG report, but I warned you about that. I mean, he had very limited scope, on the parameters, so people were expecting things, and really, in all reality, it is damning.
Oh, quite, yeah. I mean, the fact that there weren't any indictments, and we didn't expect indictments because
I don't think he could have.
Didn't have that authority. No, he didn't have the authority to do that. All this was basically a fact-finding mission. And that's why when he released his findings, not long after, Durham came out and said, whoa, hold on a second. That's not quite what we're finding. So, you had Comey trying to take a victory lap for it. But the bottom line is...
What a fool. Did you see that?
I know.
And the guy said, he came on and lied. He said, Fox News canceled my showing tomorrow at Fox and Friends. And Fox News came out, oh, no. We didn't invite you anywhere. So the guy's lying all the way to the end.
Well, I mean, that's what they know how to do. It's like, okay, well, I'm caught, so I'll lie again. Did you see the Biden's new one where he was calling black people roaches? And when he got called on it, his staff came up with the brilliant idea that Sleepy Joe was calling them coaches.
That was me, man.
Was that you?
Yeah. I saw Wayne Dupree tweeted something about it. He was all mad about it. And I wrote back to Wayne Dupree. His staff just came out and said that he said coaches. So I didn't mean to lead you down the wrong road.
Dude, you just got me reporting all kind of false news.
I know. You got to be careful.
Fake news me, man. Oh, that's not right.
It's funny, though.
I feel dirty.
It's hilarious, man. I mean, the guy's a train wreck, man. He's a complete and total freaking train wreck, man. We're going to get into that, too. But
the fact that he doesn't know where he is half the time.
Oh, man, he's bad. He's in bad shape. I mean, he's telling people that he didn't know his son was at Burisma. I mean, the thing, he said the other day that nobody's ever said anything about my son working in Burisma. I'm thinking, really, Joe? Joe, are you still on a rotary internet or what?
Well, the other new one he had today was nobody told me that would have been a conflict of interest.
Right.
You're running for president of the United States and you can't identify conflict of interest. That's kind of shaky.
I'm going to jump the normal sequence of events here and just throw Biden on there right now. You're not going to believe this, man. He's at a Teamsters rally. I want you to listen to this guy. This guy cannot put two thoughts together. He can't.
$1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened?
Oh, no. What the hell did he just say? One more time.
$1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened?
Oh, no. Spaghetti sauce is hard to stack.
Exactly.
I mean, just say.
Glass bottles and stuff. Yeah, he's completely out of his mind, man.
He's lost it.
We had the one last week where he was talking about the kids rubbing his legs and how he liked the kids rubbing his legs. And
that's where the roaches came out. That's where the roaches came out. He said, I love though they would watch the hair come back and roaches and kids sitting on. What'd you just say there? I mean, that word just jumped in the middle like it came out of a radio or something, or out of a drawer. Unbelievable, man. I'll tell you, it's got to suck with a capital S to be a Democrat right now. It just absolutely does.
Well, Kevin McCarthy actually tweeted thanking Nancy Pelosi for giving up all those freshman seats in the House and all those vulnerable. He said, every vulnerable Republican, thank you, Nancy, for giving us a new seat.
I'll tell you, we have to come up with a strategy.
And he's right, though.
He's right. He is right, but we have to. Let me just wait and do it in its own time. I got a whole outlook on that I think we need to talk about. But let's go down. I got this pretty chronologically set up. I want to let you listen to the arrogance of Jerry Nadler and the basic essence of how. And here, let me say this first. Hey, Republicans, stop saying it's unfair. Frickin' life's not fair. Stop that. That's a punk way of responding to this. That's not how you respond to this. What you do is you realize it's unfair. Hell, you knew it was unfair before you ran for Congress.
It was never going to be fair.
No.
As soon as from the time they announced it, we knew it wasn't going to be.
That's
fair.
right. So figure that out, readjust fire, and continue to march. Stop with the crying. I don't like that. I hate that. I don't care how impassioned you are. I don't care how many law degrees you have. Stop it and go kick their ass.
Exactly.
Go out
There's
there.
no such thing as a fair fight.
No, go out there and take some scalps. You're going to sit there and let Hunter Biden, and forget Hunter Biden. You're going to let Mitt Romney's kid, Kerry's kid, Pelosi's kid. You better do something. And it ought to involve an outside counsel because nothing is going to get solved in Congress.
Well, I don't know who Rudy's going to release his stuff to, but he's saying that this week he has a treasure trove of evidence, is what he's calling it, from his recent visit to the Ukraine. So I don't know who he's releasing that to, if it's going to be released to Bill Barr and the Justice Department, or
I don't know. But President Trump
all it
and
says
Bill
is
Barr,
he's releasing evidence, and it's like, okay, but to who?
you two guys, President Trump and Bill Barr, you better have a meeting, and you better get off of you better go on offense, and you better do it soon.
I honestly think Barr is.
I hope so.
Well, President Trump is always on the offensive. I mean, he doesn't take any of this crap sitting down. So, but I mean, right after this, and I had heard rumblings before the IG report was released that Barr wasn't happy with it, and within 30 minutes of it being released, Barr came out and said,
and Durham,
he wasn't really. Yeah,
and
Durham came out after Barr. Barr came out and said, well, you know what, that's, not completely everything, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't agree with the outcome, et cetera. And then here comes Durham, and basically Durham's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, right. So, I hope, but I don't, first of all, I don't trust the Senate. And I really, really, really don't trust the Senate. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Let's go back to Nadler before we get to the Senate, and let's look what he did. The rules that he wrote, I don't know if he wrote them or Schiff wrote them or whatever, but
I think that was the bill at 660 that they voted on, that basically gave Schiff carte blanche, and he could do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, and the Republicans had to sit down and just mind.
Right, but he had promised that they would get a day to where they could call witnesses, and let's listen when they tried to cash that in.
Order.
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order.
The gentleman will state his point of order.
Mr. Chairman, Clause 2J1 of Rule 11 requires you to schedule a minority hearing day, not to consider it, not to meet to discuss it, but to schedule one, and to schedule it at a reasonable time, not after articles have been drawn, not after there's been a vote on articles of impeachment. I inquire and insist, Mr. Chairman, that you immediately schedule a minority hearing day, or tell us why you are ignoring the rules.
The gentleman, we've already gone through that, but I will repeat, that is not a proper point of order in today's hearing. As I've told the ranking minority member several times, I'm considering the minority's request. If you think we would be violating the rules of the House if we considered articles of impeachment before holding a minority day hearing, that point of order would be timely at a meeting where we considered such articles. It's not the purpose of today's hearing, and the point of order is not in order.
Mr. Chairman, since I've been implicated in this, I'd like to ask.
Without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record.
Reserve my point of objection on that.
Okay, the point of objection.
I have a question. You've brought my name into this.
The gentleman.
You have brought my name into this.
The gentleman will suspend. The gentleman is recognized.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's telling me that you're considering something you have nothing to consider, and you have told me that, I'll admit on record, is nowhere close to actually following your duty as a chairman to follow the rules. And so I think the point of order is very well taken. I think the issue that we have is not, I think your timing is, show me please in the rule, have your parliamentarian show me in the rules where you come to a time of actually being able to deny this up at a certain point.
Further reserving the right to object.
As I have said,
further reserving the right to object.
As I have said, the point of order would be in order at the meeting where we are considering
further reserving the right to object.
We will now hear presentations.
Chairman, I appeal the decision of the chair.
There's no decision to appeal. There was not a ruling and a motion. We will now hear presentations.
A ruling on the point of order.
You made a ruling on the point of order. You made a ruling on the point of order, Mr. Chairman. You can't then not allow us to appeal the ruling of the chair.
The gentleman will suspend. It was not a cognizable point of order. It was not a cognizable point of order. It was not in order at this time to make that point of order. There is no ruling to appeal.
I'm hearing the people from Pittsburgh going,
kick his ass! Not consideration. You are obligated to schedule, not to consider. You made a ruling. It is in order to appeal.
Gentlemen will suspend. We are doing what we have to do under the rules. We will now hear presentations of evidence.
Mr. Chairman,
Gentleman is not recognized. We will now hear presentations of evidence.
I have a parliamentary inquiry.
I haven't removed my objection yet.
I will not recognize a parliamentary inquiry at this time. We will now hear presentations of evidence from counsels to the judiciary.
Is this when we just hear staff ask questions of other staff and the members get dealt out of this whole hearing? And for the next 4 hours, you're going to try to overturn the result of an election with unelected people giving
Gentlemen will suspend.
I'm going to jump over that thing and snatch you out of your chair.
Will be considered in an orderly fashion. The gentleman will not yell out, and he will not attempt to disrupt the proceedings. We will now hear presentations of evidence from counsels to the Judiciary Committee for up to 60 minutes, equally divided.
I've not removed my objection yet.
Barry Burke will present for the majority, and Stephen Castor will present for the minority. Each of you will have 30 minutes to present. To help you stay within that time, there is a timing light on your table. When the light switches from green to yellow, you have 1 minute to conclude your testimony. When the light turns red, it signals your time has expired. Mr. Burke, you may begin.
Mr. Chairman, you do realize I've never withdrawn my
Gentlemen will suspend.
I've not withdrawn my objection. You've not asked me to talk to my objection. I want everybody to have an opening statement.
Gentlemen will...
I'm objecting to your opening statement comment, nothing else.
Mr. Burke is recognized.
Steamroll continues.
Mr. Burke has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Collins, and all the members.
What an embarrassment, Ward. I mean, this is our government. This is our government at the highest level.
Well, it was so close to, you do what I say or I'm taking my ball and going home.
Right.
That's exactly what Nadler, whatever, sounded like. It was like, well, I don't care what you say. I'm going to take my ball and go home. Next. And he just I thought Getz was going to lose his mind.
Me too.
I mean, there was a couple times.
Sooner or later, somebody is. Somebody is. I mean, you can only do this to people for so long. You know what I mean? And sooner or later, somebody's going to come unhinged because it's just so blatantly false. The worst part of the whole thing is the way the media covers it. You know, they're covering it like it's a legitimate thing.
Yeah, they're actually calling it the impeachment inquiry but there's nothing to do. There's no inquiry. All the people that they've talked to were all hearsay witnesses. The only two people that were actual fact witnesses lied. Vidman being one of them, because that just came up. There was just a story on that he lied on the transcript.
Did he make major yet? Did he make major yet, or is he still following an illustrious career? That guy should be canned.
Yeah, he should be given the opportunity to be the Ukrainian security minister or whatever the hell it was.
And this is all devastating for the president. I mean, his approval rating jumped 5 points in 1 week after this started.
Oh, and the Republicans are making bank, man. I mean, I think they said 1 month they got $134 million, and the Democrats are $7 million in the hole. So I mean, it's just amazing to say that, you know, and now that Bloomberg's in, you know, they got all the money they need because of Bloomberg. I'm sure he'll just open up a fund.
What an idiot, man. This guy, I mean, didn't anybody ever teach him how to handle money? He's just going to throw this away. He's crazy. Nobody's going to vote for him.
Away $34 million. Well, he said the opening week he's spending $34 million on an ad campaign.
Can you just spend $33 million and just send me one? Just send me one. All I want's one. You can do that. I'm not going to vote for you. The thing is, he's never going to be president. It's like Buttigieg. I hope he gets the nomination. I do. You're going to see how bad a Democrat gets beaten.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, the thing is with Bloomberg, you know, he's got the whole nanny state thing working for him. And there was a quote that he had like last week where he said that you have to tax lower income people so they won't have as much money to spend on things that are bad for them, so they'll live longer. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then he said sometimes it's necessary to infringe on people's rights.
And then he called Xi Jinping's not a communist. He has to answer to his constituents. What? In China? 70 million murdered under Mao? You know,
these China.
These people are something else. I mean, they really are. How can you be so rich and so stupid at the same time?
Well, and the other thing is too, he's arrogant as hell because he's like, oh, well, Trump's only worth $2 billion, and it's like, okay, so you're just showing what a snob you are. That $2 billion is not enough money to be even considered in your conversation.
It is. He's one of those. One more time.
1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened?
I'm going to keep that. I'm going to do something with that. That's just something you can't get rid of. You can't delete that. You got to keep that one for the ages. I mean, wow. Stack the spaghetti sauce. Okay, Joe. Don't know why they care about that in the Teamsters. Well, maybe because they deliver the spaghetti sauce, I guess. I don't know.
It could be. He's just trying to be relatable.
All right. Now, I found something, and I knew this for a while, but it really, really came through tonight or today, getting ready for the show. You listen, for how many years did we, rely on Fox News, the hard news part of it? And now you can't recognize it anymore. I mean, there's only one network that had any reporters in Ukraine over this, and it wasn't Fox. It was One American News Network. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you, if you don't know her already, I want to introduce you to Chanel Rion. She should get a Pulitzer Prize. I'm telling you, they went to Ukraine, and what they uncovered over there, they are a real American news network, folks. And even Rush Limbaugh today called out One American News Network as better than Fox. And that reverberated around Twitter and other social media a whole lot.
What else are you going to say? They're between Napolitano, Juan Williams,
Shepard Smith. Shepard Smith.
Well, Shep's gone. He's gone.
Bill Hemmer. Hemmer's as bad as Smith. I mean, I can't stand that guy.
Not yet, but once he gets his own show, he'll go fully over.
And he got it. He got it today. Yeah. He got Shepard Smith.
Yeah, but I mean, once he starts his show, he'll be just as bad as.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he will. And there's other guys. The guys on the panel.
Chris Wallace.
Yeah. Stephen Hayes
Brett
is on
Baer.
there.
I mean, we can
Jonah Goldberg.
Basically, everybody at Fox other than Hannity and
Laura
Tucker Carlson.
Ingram. Like Laura Ingram.
The three that are on at night, other than that, you can throw that whole station on.
I feel horrible for Brett Baer, man. He's got to be biting his lip. Either that or he's just a money guy. He's just after the money, and that's the only thing that's important. Because there's certainly, and I said all that to prefix this. I want you to listen. I've got 2 reports here, and I promise you that if we have an ounce of justice in this country left, these people are going to lead the way on shining a light on all this. This is Chanel Rion, ladies and gentlemen, from One America News Network.
Them with Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani had come under fire recently by House Democrats who were accusing Giuliani of digging up dirt on Biden to derail Biden's presidential dreams, a claim debunked in part 1 and 2 of our series. First stop, Budapest. We arrived at Safe House 1, a snow-covered hunting lodge in the woods beyond the Hungarian capital. There we met Yuri Lutsenko, the former Ukrainian prosecutor general. Lutsenko has had a controversial reputation, especially in light of what appeared to be a flip-flopping feud with Rudy Giuliani about whether he thought the Bidens committed any crimes. He says the Bidens have, but the media twisted his words. Lutsenko brought with him a stack of official communiques to demonstrate how Ambassador Yovanovitch perjured herself in Adam Schiff's inquiry. Lutsenko urged for the U.S. to open an investigation into what his prosecutor's office found to be a long line of money laundering tied to the Bidens. Target 2, Viktor Shokin, the former prosecutor general Biden is alleged to have fired. OAN offered to fly Shokin out to a location away from Kiev, but Shokin's health was not fit for travel due to what he says is an attempted poisoning. So we flew to Shokin in Kiev. A compound was secured just outside the Ukrainian capital. We traveled once again in caravans surrounded by security. Mr. Giuliani had not stepped foot in Ukraine for roughly 2 years, but as the witness list grew longer, the mayor decided he would enter the country with us to meet these witnesses in person. Shokin testified how President Poroshenko walked into his office and told him Ukraine wouldn't get $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees unless Shokin stopped investigating Hunter Biden. This ended in Shokin losing his position as prosecutor general. Our next witness was a member of Ukrainian parliament, Andrei Derkach. Derkach has opened up dozens of inquiries investigating the misappropriation of U.S. funds in Ukraine and how the U.S. embassy acted inappropriately in the process. Derkach also showed us documents pertaining to 6 criminal cases in Ukraine involving the Bidens, contradicting the lemming media's claim that the Bidens are innocent of all crimes. Derkach presented compelling documents and testimony debunking the saintly Biden's narrative. Inevitably,
Did she just say the lemming media? She did, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Well, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is an organization worth watching. I'm going to talk to Mona and see if we can't make some inroads. I want to talk to some of these people. That was Chanel Rion, and she's coming up next. But first, let's go. I think this is Rico. Rico, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, every time you call in here, it just shows the phone number, and I've put you in there 3 times. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I recognize the location. What's on your mind, sir?
Dude, man, something happened to me that I had to do, and I don't know if I did the right thing or not. And it kind of shows the political climate of what's going on. I was having an argument with a Democrat on Facebook, right?
No.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah, you know, we're going back and forth. I called him an F-tard and all that good stuff, and he said the same thing to me and stuff like that. But the interesting part, there was another guy who saw the whole thing too, right? And he said he's all upset and angry. And I'm from Kentucky, and this other dude's from Tennessee. He says he wanted to come up to Tennessee in Kentucky to do something about it. All right.
Oh wow!
And he's flashing these pictures of guns and stuff like that. So I had to vet this whole thing out. I had to vet this whole thing out, man. And I had to do something I never thought I'd ever do.
Okay.
What do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe talk to the authorities.
I called the FBI.
Yeah.
I vetted the whole thing to make sure it was not a joke, to make sure it was a serious thing.
I wouldn't have called the FBI though. I'd have went to the state or something or someone.
That's because he's in a different state than I am. I didn't know who else to call.
Right.
But he implicated me, kind of. I think, possibly. I don't know for sure.
Right.
So when that came up, man, I did something I couldn't believe I would ever do, because I don't like doing things like this.
I had to do it once too. I had to do it one time.
Yeah, because when it comes to my fellow man, I don't care if you're a Democrat, man. I don't care. Your life's more important than politics, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, on the other hand, though, you really have to look at the motives on where do the Democrats want to go. Now, the Democrats of today and the Democrats of our father's Democrat Party are 2 totally different animals. I'm not sure about Ward, but I started out as a Democrat because where I live.
I'm here.
Were you a Democrat too, or were you always a Republican? So it takes learning for a lot of people that grow up, especially in industrial areas like here. Everybody's a Democrat in Pittsburgh, just about, and it takes a waking up. You know, it takes learning something and changing to be able to do that.
I'd always heard that a Republican was just a Democrat that got screwed.
That's a good point. I mean,
so one of my questions to you is: do you think I did the right thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If anybody, because one thing is, any American or conservative or whatever you want to call them, worth their salt, would never tell the public that they have guns or what they have, or That's not
or
something
I'm
that
going
we
to come
would do.
after you with it.
Right.
That's
No, I show up. We show up when you don't know we're coming. You know what I mean? If that's the case, if it degenerates to that point,
I was.
You'll never know what hits you.
I waited the half hour, and I was kind of listening to his live stuff too to make sure, because he just sounded angry. And then once I just, I vetted the thing. I had to make sure I've got the context right, all that stuff before I ever even thought about calling the authorities, man. I was scared to call, to be honest with you.
I hear you. I mean, it's something that normally.
At the same time, you got to take threats like that serious, because at this day and age, people are just so far off the edge.
They're consumed with hatred.
Any kind of a threat, you got to assume that they're going to go through with it.
Hatred is a hell of a motivator.
I did vet it. I just made sure. It sounded like he was angry. I heard him on his live. He was angry, and I said, I got to do something.
No, I would unfollow him and block him and all that too. You know what I mean?
No, I called though. Nobody. I'm not even mentioning his name.
No, I know. I'm saying just in general, though. I mean, that's not somebody that you want reading your content.
To follow you, or
right?
Because them crazy people start stalking you and then trying to dox you.
I got a different view on that, because now that I'm aware of them,
now you want to pay attention to him.
He does know who I am. Now that I'm aware of him,
there you go.
I'm not going to block him. I'm just going to keep an eye on him in case I see something. That's all.
There you go. Did you get a positive? Did you get a positive response from the FBI, or?
They basically told me I did the right thing.
Good.
They said, I told them, listen.
You might have stopped the next school shooter,
Yeah, I told them I think someone needs to talk to this man, and it just seemed. I told them I read off everything he said, and they said, yeah, you did the right thing. So, but then again, I understand the idea of snitching and stuff like that. But on something like this,
that's different. That's not
snitching, dude.
No, I mean you rob a bank with somebody else and then you tell. That's snitching.
Yeah, when you have some crazy, when some maniac's threatening you with a weapon, yeah, that's not snitching. That's self-preservation.
Yeah, and also helping on my fellow man. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican.
Absolutely.
By the way, I did listen to the entire thing today, fucking 9 hours of it, man. It was funny though too, man, because he answered all the questions from the Republican as he should. And then you hear the Democrats asking questions, and he started putting out the extra information, whoever the so-called witness was. And wasn't one of the witnesses one of the people on the panel or something like that? I'm like, what the hell's up with that?
Yeah, he came out and did his opening statement as a witness, and then he went back up onto the, what do they call that? It's not a bench. They have an actual name for it. The rotunda? Is it the rotunda?
I don't know.
Whatever. But he was sitting back up on the thing, and in fact, the minority leader questioned that. Says, well, what's he doing back up here? I thought we were supposed to be able to question him.
And then he left later too. He wasn't there for the whole thing.
I liked when the Democrat lawyer said, "We're not going to tell you how we did this investigation." What are you talking about? I mean, is this America? That's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me the most about Democrats of this day and age. Because I've watched Democrats for 50 years. And they were always the people that were concerned that law enforcement was getting too powerful. I mean, to have the FBI and the Attorney General's office and the intelligence community all ramped up against an American citizen, that would have never been tolerated by the Democrats, even in the 90s. This whole flip of this party is it's scary, actually. You've got half the country that are ignorant to the fact that we cannot have a police state here.
Well, and there's only certain parts of their platform that they really changed, right? I mean, slowly but surely, they became the party of the abortion because they're godless, hateful bastards, and I'm sorry.
I'm messing with you. I don't.
No, but my point is,
I understand your point from a Christian
it's
point
like
of view.
if you could take the most heinous things in society, that's what they stand for.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not even saying that to be funny. It's a shame. I mean, these are the people that booed God as one of the planks of their platform.
But the name Mohammed has broken into the top 10 of American baby names this year. So good luck with that. You know, that always ends well. Just ask him in Sweden, you know, which President Trump knew and they ridiculed him about. But
now here's some questions I would ask, you know, Democrats. Do you actually think you're going to get free money every month? No. Do you actually think, you know, you're going to get a free education after high school? No. Do you think you're going to get anything from the Democratic Party at all? They're just so full of shit, man. It's not even funny.
I know.
You know.
Well, and that's.
I'm sorry if I'm using. I don't know what your language.
I already put the explicit tag on. We're good.
All right.
He knew I was coming. Don't worry about it.
It's from the intro.
All right, man. I guess I'll let you go, man. I'll listen to you, man, and I will call another time. I appreciate you taking my phone call, man.
I appreciate you giving the show.
I think you rock, dude.
I thank you. I appreciate you taking a chance on the show.
Man, I'm impressed, man. I like you got some nads, man. You got some nads.
Thank you, Rico.
All right,
I appreciate
I'll talk to you
it,
later,
brother.
buddy. See you.
All right. Look at that. We got some love in Kentucky. I love that, man. I love all our listeners, especially the ones that have been around for a long time. But it is a thrill to get a new one, Ward.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Always is. Now, let's continue down this road of One America News Network. This one's even better. And there's more than this. I mean, they are on the job, man.
And former Prosecutor General Victor Shokin speaks to OAN about Joe Biden's direct role in getting his office to stop investigating his son, Hunter. One America Chanel Rion has that story.
Before we continue on that, just remember that every Democrat and every single network pundit or journalist, news readers is what they are. They're reading. That's it.
No, and they're not, and it's not news that they're reading.
No, but all of them say that this has been debunked. This has been debunked. This is not true. It's a fantasy. It's all Trump. Listen to One American News Network getting it right from the horse's mouth.
Former Ukrainian Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin told One American News in Kiev that in July and August of 2015, his office prepared to question Hunter Biden over money laundering activities tracing directly back to Burisma. Shokin says pressure to stop investigating Hunter Biden's Burisma activities then increased, and President Poroshenko personally asked Shokin to wind down the Burisma investigation to appease then Vice President and Obama's Ukraine point man, Joe Biden. As the months passed, more cases and investigations into Burisma began to spring up, and President Poroshenko came to Shokin's office and told Shokin the Burisma case was why Joe Biden wouldn't release $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees, money Ukraine needed desperately.
Да, он говорит, нам нужны деньги, мы воюющая страна.
Yes, said Shokin. That's what he told me. He came to me and said, you are a patriot of Ukraine. We need this $1 billion. We're at war, and if you are a patriot, you will close this case.
Это когда уже суд арестовал 2 февраля.
My conversation with Poroshenko on this, Shokin says, was in a phone call. It was after we started seizing Burisma assets in Ukraine when Poroshenko called me and said, listen, this all has to stop already. Joe Biden's temper is overflowing. This seizing of Burisma assets, said Poroshenko, was the last straw. Shokin says Poroshenko then paid him a visit in his office, asking for Shokin's resignation. Shokin responded and asked, why do I have to go? I haven't done anything wrong. I'm doing my job. This is standard procedure. We have reason to freeze Burisma assets. And Poroshenko said, Biden is angry about you freezing Burisma assets. I'll figure something out. We asked Shokin if this demand for a resignation was specifically because Biden had asked for it, or if there were other possible reasons. Shokin insists it was all Biden.
Нет, так причина Байден говорит.
Because of Biden, says Shokin. Everyone knew what was going on. Poroshenko told me directly that I had to step down as prosecutor general because of Joe Biden. Biden and leftist media claim Shokin was corrupt and inept and had to be dismissed, despite the fact that not a single charge of corruption has ever been raised or proven against Shokin to date. To this, Shokin shrugs. Shokin says people don't have to believe him. Just look at the transcripts. Biden's transcripts, that is. The transcripts of Biden's telephone conversations with Poroshenko, says Shokin, is where the truth will show itself. Americans must demand it. And if they do, they will see, broad as day, Joe Biden was illegally influencing foreign officials in order to protect his son, Hunter, and shield illegal money laundering activities. One American News verified on camera what Shokin has stated for months when he issued a stunning 12-page sworn affidavit to an Austrian court stating how Joe Biden was directly involved in interfering with active cases under investigation. For more, be sure to watch Part 3 of our One America News Investigates special, debunking the Adam Schiff case for impeachment. I'm Chanel Rian, One America News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.
Now, I was going to, normally I edit that last part out, but I left it on there on purpose. This is a network to get behind. The level of detail in that report and the ability to be able to translate Ukrainian to English that way. I think Ukrainian's a language. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But
I think it's a dialect of Russian.
It probably is.
I think it is.
So to be able to do that in that detail, have you really, Chuck Todd, Brian Stelter, every single one of them. Chris Wallace is one of the ones that will tell you, in contradiction to this report, that, I'm looking for his name, can't find his name, Shokin was a corrupt prosecutor. You've heard him say that. You've heard every American News Network say that. And right there, you heard the report from One American News Network. He's never been charged or suspected of corruption. So, the detail, I'm telling you, Fox News is out. They're out. I urge everybody, go to this station. This is the station to watch for investigative journalism.
Thus far, they're the only station that I've seen that are actually doing just that. They report the news, and it's not a slant. It's not an opinion. It's this is what it is. And then you make your own opinion. And that's what news should be. They should say, this is what we're seeing. Now, you make your own decision. You form your own opinion. Unlike what they're doing, what the mainstream media does now. And if you watch, there's been a bunch of different studies and different things, and you can find them on the internet where they'll start a news story at one station, and as they go across, it's using the same words.
Oh, absolutely, the verbatim.
Exactly, and that's the scary part of it. It's like, okay, so who's writing all of this?
Right.
Because there's one guy that's writing the narrative for the entire United States.
That's true, man. That's so true. And Rush Limbaugh has made a cottage industry out of his compilations of what you said, of every station saying the exact same thing. This is the place to go. It really is. Let's go to Eugene. Hello, Marlene.
Hello, Hutch. Hey, Ward.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. Oh, I'm doing great. Just so you know, Ukrainian, that is Ukrainian. They have it sounds like Russian, but it's a little bit different dialect, although I do know that some of the words are the same.
I figured something like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to try to mislead anybody.
No, I totally understand. The reason I know is because of my heritage and my aunts and uncles. They used to tell me all that stuff. And I was just thinking, no wonder Papa Biden didn't want his son investigated when the prosecutor general wanted to question son about his money laundering. Obviously, Papa was not happy. And Papa didn't like it because Papa didn't want to be found out either. So obviously, Papa decides, well, I think let's use a little bit of extortion on this Ukrainian prosecutor general. Prosecutor, yeah.
Well, actually, it was more against the country of Ukraine, and said, okay, fire him or you don't get your money. Quid pro quo.
I think there was a little bit of both. That's true.
Fire the prosecutor or you don't get sleeping bags.
That's right.
And MREs.
Yeah.
I'll pay you to keep the MREs.
They don't need MREs. Those things are couldn't eat those.
They need the job.
And switching gears here and over in this side of the world, I am not holding my breath about the report that comes out from Durham and Barr, and I really want to be wrong. I don't think that anything is really going to come out of it.
Well, I'll tell you this.
I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
I do too. I do too, because I'm going to tell you, if the Durham report does not send a lot of guilty people to prison, then it's up to us. Then it's over. I mean, we have two missions. One is to reelect President Trump, and some additional things that I'm going to get into next.
I think Nancy's already helped us with that.
Well, we'll see.
I think so too.
We'll see. But it's not only that. And I'm going to get into that next, like I said. But at some point in time, if we, the people, regardless of what the corrupt government does, if we let this stand, we're finished. We're finished. I'm telling you, we're done. It doesn't matter who the damn president is. If the Republicans in the Senate are corrupt, it doesn't matter. And you're going to see that going forward here right now.
Well, you got two parties in the Senate that are in the legislative branch that are corrupt. It's both parties. It's not one over the other. I mean, one's more messed up psychologically than the other. But, I mean, dirty is dirty.
No, that's right.
They're both dirty, I know. Except for, I can set a few decent people aside. But the rest of them, they're both all messed up.
I totally agree with you, Marlene.
Yeah.
Now, I would suggest, if you want to understand what we're talking about here, Angelo Codevilla penned an article a couple years ago, before Trump even, at the beginning of the Tea Party movement, titled "America's Ruling Class and the Perils of Revolution" by Angelo M. Codevilla. It's in the research room at SteelCityResistance.com, and it explains the uniparty situation that we're going to get into in a minute. Go ahead, Marlene.
Okay, just finally, I got a chance to listen to that Bird's Eye View. I wanted to let you know I absolutely loved it.
Really?
You and your son, I was fantastic. You and your son, I could just see the love that you guys have for each other. I just thought that was so good.
Let me tell you. Let me tell everybody. So hard. Let me tell you, everybody, what she's talking about. If you're a patron to Cold War Radio, on Sundays, every now and then I slip. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this since 2006, and I have a plethora of my life's work when it comes to podcasting. And my first podcast, when Ward and I met, was Bird's Eye View. And it was an attempt. I had just gotten divorced, but I didn't divorce my kids, and I wanted to make sure, that we still had something going on. So my son and I started a show, and it's a comedy show. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it has nothing to do with this show, other than the fact that it was me, younger, on a show that had nothing to do with politics. It was strictly just between my son and I, and it morphed into being about Pittsburgh and different things. And it's comedic in nature, and we do not
hilarious.
We don't delete the expletives either.
No,
and there's
I can really tell it.
Well, actually, Bird's Eye View is the reason we met, because
that's true.
That is true.
You had Bird's Eye View. You had Bird's Eye View going into Pod Camp, and I had Restaurant Food Fest. I think was it that
and Average Joe show.
Average Joe show
that you guys were doing. We used to be funny, but then life got serious, and we had to kind of shift. But anyway, if you're a Cold War Radio patron, I play episodes of Berg's Eye View. And the thing is, Marlene, this week I didn't play it, and I'm going to tell you why real quick. I was listening to it before I played it, before I uploaded it. And there was a segment in there that my son's friends used to come over and be part of the show. And
right, I could hear that was happening when you guys were talking about it.
His football teammates.
He was just getting ready to be deployed. Right.
Yeah.
He was talking about his football team and his prom dance and all this stuff. That
right.
was great.
Exactly. And one of my favorite kids, I talked about him. As a matter of fact, one of the show's bylines was Turk Needs a Lady. And Turk was a friend of my son's and a friend of mine that I kind of felt like a son almost. And God damn it, that fentanyl got him. You know what I mean? So I'm listening to this. And my heart just fell out of my chest, and I turned everything off, and I didn't post it. But I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to get back into it on Sunday. So that's just if you want to be a patron, that's a bonus. I didn't know how people were going to take it. It's so different in this show, but I got a lot to cover, Marlene. So thank you for bringing that up, though.
I know you do. Yeah, I had to.
Well, thank you very much.
No, I really liked it.
I appreciate it. Now I'm going to do it again. All right. And we go to Iraq next. So that's going to be fun. All right. Now, the serious part of the show that really, guys, I'm telling you, we're getting set up again. I said it a couple nights ago about what happened during the Clinton impeachment and how the Senate is corrupt, ladies and gentlemen. The Senate Republicans are super corrupt, or we'd have knocked this out a long time ago. I want you to listen to Lindsey Graham, and I want you to remember Lindsey Graham saying when Peter Strzok testified and when some of the other people testified about he was going to, you remember, Ward, I'm going to drag this person in, I'm going to drag this person in. Lindsey Graham's full of shit. He's as full of shit as Trey Gowdy was, and I tried to tell you about him too. Lindsey Graham got money from Ukraine somehow, guaranteed. Guaranteed, so did half of the rest of those Republicans. I'm sure John Cornyn, I'm sure all of them.
Well, there's tons of pictures with Lindsey and McCain hanging out with, over in Ukraine with the same corrupt oligarch that just that they ran out of business.
And let's not forget when we're talking about fusion GPS and all that, McCain was right there at the beginning of that, and I guarantee you Lindsey Graham was 6 feet behind him like McCain's woman, like he was. Guaranteed he was there.
Well, I mean, the Horowitz report raised the fact that McCain had his staffers working on it, and he was the one who brought it up. Oh, yeah.
Anything McCain did, Lindsey Graham was involved in. Believe me.
Absolutely.
So I have a message for Mr. Durham and for Mr. Giuliani. Do not spare these bastards. Do not spare these Republicans. We are never going to get anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, in this country until we clean this up. If we don't take out the trash with the Lindsey Grahams and the Pat Toomeys and all these other incumbents, Republican incumbents that are in the Senate, if we don't primary them and get them out, it doesn't matter who's president. Doesn't mean a damn thing, especially in the Senate Intelligence Committee. These people are running the show, folks. They're running the whole show. Not the House. The House is worthless. But the Senate.
Yeah.
We have to clean this up, and it's going to be hard because they'll use the same tactics against a primary challenger as they will against President Trump.
You know what's interesting about this, though, Hutch? While the House is all ginned up for the impeachment, and you got all the lefties running around losing their minds because of it, quietly, Trump's been getting judges approved.
That is so true. But it's not going to save Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, you got dirty money in your pocket, and you and your wife are going down.
Oh no, I'm not saying that as any sort of a bump to McConnell, but the president that's another win that the media is not going to talk about. But he's turning the judiciary red, and he's going to get to do it because Ginsburg isn't going to last. She won't last till Election Day.
Nope.
I honestly don't think I don't think she has Election Day in her. So if she were to happen to fade away, and Trump gets to name another Supreme Court justice, that's case closed.
Predicted it. Yeah, you're right. And the regular federal courts, too. I mean, that's where he's really making
loading
money.
Up the federal courts.
Yeah.
All right, I think he flipped the Ninth Circuit.
I think he did, too, or he came close, or he's about to. But anyway, let's listen to Lindsey Graham, and then I got to try to figure, we got to do something about this.
It's impossible to bring this case forward, in my view, fairly, without us knowing who the whistleblower is and having a chance to cross-examine them about any biases that they may have. So if they don't call the whistleblower in the House, this thing is dead on arrival in the Senate.
Joining me right now exclusively is South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. He is chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and we are thrilled to have you here in studio,
Thank you.
Senator. Thank you so much for being here. You said that to me a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Is it still dead on arrival unless you hear from the whistleblower?
Well, the whole process is illegitimate in the House. It's not just a whistleblower. You don't want to create a situation where an anonymous person can start impeachment proceedings against the President of the United States. You can't get a parking ticket based on an anonymous allegation. The hearings were held behind closed doors. The Intel Committee gathered all the facts. The president's lawyer was never allowed to participate. They asked to call witnesses in the Judiciary Committee. They had one hearing in the committee with 4 law professors, and Nancy Pelosi said, we're going to move forward with the articles of impeachment. This is a joke of a process. It's dangerous to the country. It's the first impeachment scenario in the country started in-house, not with outside counsel. Whitewater prosecutor Ken Starr. You had Mueller looking at all things Russia and Trump. You had prosecutors in the Nixon case outside the system. This is being driven by Schiff and Nadler, Pelosi, partisan people. I think it's going to meet a quick end in the Senate.
Who are some of the people you are going to want to hear from if, in fact, this does go to a trial? And will the president get a fair trial? Are you going to demand that people like the whistleblower, Adam Schiff, Alexandra Chalupa, Fusion GPS, are these some of the people or organizations you're going to want to question?
There's 2 ways to do this. In the trial, you can have the president present a defense to prove, in fact, that maybe the Ukraine was interfering in our election. The Russians stole the emails, not the Ukraine, but there's articles suggesting Ukrainian officials met with Democratic operatives in 2016. I don't know if that's true, but here's what I'm going to do with the trial. I'm going to try to get it over as quickly as possible, listen to what the House case, let them present their case, and if there's nothing new and dramatic, I would be ready to vote, and we can do all this other stuff through congressional oversight.
So are you saying you're not going to have people come down and
I am
testify?
saying that I'm going to end this as quickly as I can for the good of the country. When 51 of us say we've heard enough, the trial is going to end. The president's going to be acquitted. He may want to call Schiff. He may want to call Hunter Biden. He may want to call Joe Biden. But here's my advice to the president. If the Senate is ready to vote and ready to acquit you, you should celebrate that. And we can look at this other stuff outside of impeachment. Impeachment is tearing the country apart. I don't want to give it any more credibility than it deserves.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because, I mean, all of this time, yes, they're trying to rush this through. The Democrats want to get this done before the end of the year and before the Iowa caucuses and before we learn more about the IG report. And yet there seems to have been a wrecking ball thrown at our democracy with Adam Schiff getting people's phone records. I mean, what do you think about that? Adam Schiff getting the phone records of Devin Nunes, of John Solomon?
I think it's dangerous. What he did, he was, I think, looking at Rudy and found out Rudy made some calls to these folks.
So Rudy's not allowed to make these phone calls?
No, he certainly can. But here's what I would tell Adam Schiff. Do you really want to start calling other members of Republicans, members of Congress in oversight? Do you want me to call you to the Senate as part of Senate oversight? Where does this
Will
insanity?
you? Will you call
No,
it?
I will not.
Why?
Because I'm not going to participate in things I think will destroy the country.
Destroy
I'm not
you,
gonna
you
call a bunch
lightning.
of House members to come to the Senate as part of oversight. Now, if you're a House member and you participated, you're not subject, you're not above the law, but we're not going to turn the Senate into a circus. And I would tell Schiff, what you're doing is very dangerous for separation of powers here.
Just the idea of getting that information into the public view so that the public can
No!
start speculating, oh, why did Giuliani call this one? And why was John Solomon on the phone with Giuliani?
Adam Schiff is doing a lot of damage to the country, and he needs to stop. Mueller spent 2 years and $25 million looking at Trump. This whole Ukrainian stuff is a joke. They got the money.
You're a joke.
They got the meeting with the president. They didn't investigate Joe Biden or Hunter Biden. There is no there.
I understand, but it's not stopping, Senator. You know, you say, yeah, he needs to stop, but he's not.
It's
for 3
gonna
years.
stop
He
soon.
said collusion was in plain sight.
Yeah, well, the
I mean,
guy.
where's the accountability for that? Let me hear your thoughts on the IG report. We're
The
going to get that.
accountability comes in November of 2020 when the public sees what the House has done with their majority. They spent all their time trying to destroy the Trump presidency. They've done nothing beneficial to the American people. You know who may be the most valuable player for the Republican Party in the 2020 election cycle is Adam Schiff.
I'll tell you, Ward, this guy. So now what you've heard is Lindsey Graham is going to become the protector of the swamp. That's what his job is. And I'm telling you, it was already transmitted to Fox News. On the panel tonight on Brett Baer's show, I heard, I forget his name, Steigerwald, I don't know his name, but the fat guy that comes on there, and he's always dead on. He always knows for sure. And he said, he echoed what Graham said. This is going to be a fast hearing, and it's going to be open and closed, and it's going to be over. Oh, hell no. I'm telling you, it's not going to get solved in the Senate. For those of you who think that there's going to be a trial in the Senate, there's not going to be a trial in the Senate. Nope. It's going to be Democrats, bring your evidence, not guilty, it's over. That's what it's going to be. And I'm telling you, it's because all the Republican senators are corrupt. They all have money, and all the Democrats know it.
Well, I think that the thing is that they weren't stupid enough to do the same thing. You know, I mean, it's just a matter of time before one of them just totally steps in it. And the thing is, Graham won't call them on the carpet. And until he does, I mean, Schiff is just running around doing whatever he wants because it's like there's no fear of retribution. Why would you say, well, I can't say that because I might get sued? You know, that used to be a thing. You know, I'm not going to defame somebody because if I do, I may have to, I'll be fined and I have to pay money. Now, these people go out, say whatever they want, especially in the media. They say whatever they want. They make up whatever they want, and then they go, my bad, print a retraction or, a correction, and then move on.
The president should appoint a special prosecutor immediately after the Senate hearing. And it should probably be Rudy Giuliani. I wouldn't mind that one bit. And I would give him the mission of clean up the corruption in the United States Senate. And boom. I don't know how it would end, but my God, we got to do something, Ward.
Yeah, I know.
It's either that or there's going to be cars lit on fire in the street.
Well, I mean, if you take a look at the real big picture, okay, first you got the squad, right? I mean, they've been in trouble. I mean, not just
they're all under ethics. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone. Well, Tlaib got nailed today. I mean, apparently.
Of course, it wasn't on the news, though. Fox News didn't cover it tonight.
On the news.
Yeah, right.
No, and nobody covered it yet.
No.
If they will at all. But, and now there's calls again for her to step down. I don't understand how AOC's. Well, I don't understand how she walks without a helmet. She's just completely.
Now you're showing your true Pittsburgh roots. That's
what's that?
That dirty, dark humor that we had in elementary school about the helmets. and eating the paste and, licking the window. Yeah, the whole thing.
Now tell me she isn't a window licking, helmet wearing.
We ate Lay's potato chips and she ate lead paint, lead paint chips, I guess.
Exactly.
I don't know.
She had lead chips.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's something else. Now, I want to continue with this, but again, it's not going to get solved in the Senate. No matter what you think, it's not. They all talk too much baloney. That's bologna for the rest of the country.
Well, the thing with Graham is if he calls, he basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is, how, the Trump thing basically surfaced Biden. And I think that they're smart enough to realize, hey, if we go poking around too much in Ukraine, all of our dirty laundry is going to
And that's what happened. They started poking, and all of a sudden it's Kerry's son. And then it's Romney's son. And then it's Pelosi's son.
Yeah, well, I think that that's exactly why Graham's saying because then that way he can be the hero because it comes. Now think about this for a second, Hutch. It comes to the Senate. Graham says, "Okay, you don't have no evidence. The whistleblower can't testify. Boom, closed. Move on." So
nobody finds out that nobody finds out that Graham's husband was involved in it. Oh,
exactly.
No,
and nobody. But my point is, but then Graham becomes the hero, and come election time, he's the guy. Hey, I defended the president, and that's exactly how he's going to paint it. I was the hero. I saved the president.
Lindsey Graham's that guy.
He's gonna run ads like that all over South Carolina.
I know you had guys in your unit like Lindsey Graham. I know I did over the years. He's just all talk and no action. That's Lindsey Graham. Now, I guess we ought to get back to some reality, some harsh, cold reality here on the show as soon as I can find where I need to go. And I'm not, I always have this problem when I'm trying to take care of business here, but I think we got it.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes in the dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
It's the Chicago Report with Ward Miller. Yay! And it's this week's Chicago Report. Once again, we're going to rehash the tragedy which is Chicago and the most stringent gun laws in the country. And the current, we'll go December to date. So far, this is December 9th. There have been 8 people shot and killed, 36 shot and wounded, and total of 44 shot, with a total of 10 homicides.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's 9 days in. All right. Year to date, we have 440 shot and killed. Shot and wounded, 2,150. Total shot, 2,590. Total homicides, 487.
Wow.
For the most stringent gun laws in the country, folks.
The only good thing is we get to reset it next month. But I'm sure it'll climb. It'll climb quickly.
Looking at this page, it just amazes me how, the guys that do this are really, I guess they're just number crunchers or whatever, because they break down to how many shots were in the head, how many shots were in the arms, how many shots were in the torso, lower body. They break everything down for they call it the 2019 shot placement. And
wow.
It's just crazy. If anybody wants to, there's a site called Hey Jackass. Go to heyjackass.com and look up the Chicago crime, and that's where I get this information from. And it's just it amazes me every week when we do this as to how much there's a person shot every 3 hours and 10 minutes in Chicago, where you can't buy a gun.
It's outstanding.
A person is murdered every 16 minutes. Every 16 hours and 57 minutes.
Jeez.
Someone is killed.
You imagine living there. Jeez, oh man. But then again, do you want those people to move and live next to you? You know, maybe we should build a wall around Chicago.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, it's already been proven that when you have concealed carry laws and whatnot, crime drops.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a proven fact that these criminals aren't going to try and rob you or murder you or what have you with your if there's the possibility that you're armed.
No, that's true. And crime really goes down if you're the one carrying the gun. But just from personal experience, I got some bad news that I have to report here. I mean, if it's true, it's true. I've interviewed this guy several times, and he's been trying to oust Maxine Waters out in her congressional district in California. The man's name is Omar Navarro, and he's been arrested. And I'm not going to go too extensively into this because he hasn't been convicted of anything, and this could be the Democrat dirty tricks. I don't think it is, because when I read into this, the guy very clearly, unless somebody's lying, which is possible, was stalking this Republican candidate for Congress. He's been arrested for extortion, stalking, criminal threats of GOP congressional candidates. So we'll watch that and see what happens with it. It's like
so
I said
does that
before.
mean he's threatening the other congressional candidate? I don't understand that.
It was a romance thing. It was a romance thing. He was romantically involved with a GOP congressional something, candidate, and offered her like $20,000 to take him back and marry him and all this other stuff. He went berserk. Is basically what it sounds like. Let's go to Virginia and welcome Regina to the show. Hello, Regina.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing good. What's on your mind tonight?
So I was calling the let me ask you this first. How do you feel about talking about people that I kind of sort of been vetting and following for a while, and they have good information?
Okay. So what was the question?
The question is how do you feel about getting information from other people that I've been vetting and following for a while, and they give out good information?
What do you mean, trusting them? As far as you have to.
I guess having me give you the information that they've been giving out on like Twitter and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, you gotta. You said you were vetting them. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there, and I have to say, even in some of our better new media outlets, I'll give you an example. I like the stories that get broken at the Gateway Pundit. But the Gateway Pundit has a very bad habit of producing clickbait articles. They have a very bad habit of putting a 5-star headline, and I click it, and the story doesn't have a damn thing to do with that headline, or it's old. That really bothers me, and the reason it bothers me so much is, 60 to 70% of the stuff on their website is phenomenal. They don't have to do that, but they do it anyway.
I was talking about people I classify like on the run. Like they don't write a whole lot of articles and stuff like that. They do things like Periscope and YouTube and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I kind of consider. I consider us that way. I consider Cold War Radio that way. I have never, ever, and never will come on here and try to deceive you, because I don't have any time for that. I mean, that's not. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to make you think.
And the thing is,
a certain way.
It's not productive.
Right.
I mean, what good would it be for us to come on here and just lie to, and then I just feel dirty, because we have followers that are listening to us, and they're listening, and they believe what we tell them, And
hell, we've got we've got patrons that pay us for what we do.
Oh, and believe it or not, you sound like that. Y'all two both sound just like this one guy that I've been following and vetting for, I think almost 2 years now. And he's pretty good and he's pretty smart.
There you go.
You probably heard of him, but then you again probably haven't. He goes by the name of James R.
I haven't heard of him. I mean, I might have, but I listen to so many people.
And guess where he lives at?
Where?
You don't know this. He lives in Hawaii.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
That's a very liberal place, too.
I'd like to get that gig.
Yeah. I would too.
Hey, Hutch, can I telecommute from Hawaii?
Sure.
I'll call into the show. It'll be like
we had a co-host from Norway, man. He used to stay up until 3 a.m.
I think Hawaii.
So, Regina, I would trust you, and in reaction to your question, I would trust you to know whether or not somebody's worth listening to or not. I've listened to you
James
over
R,
time.
Yeah, James R is a good guy. He's a good guy. He doesn't fill out bullshit and plus he's the one that says that political correctness must die.
It must.
That's one of his taglines.
All I would say is that
since we started the show.
Yeah, that's true. And all I would say, Regina, if you get into a conversation with somebody like that and you think that they're worthwhile, send them over to the show. You know what I mean? Why not?
I know, but he kind of sort of doesn't take calls. The only way he is that you can DM him because apparently he also works at Home Depot too. So.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
I think you're in good shape, Regina. I think you're following the right people.
Yeah. I was just letting y'all know so y'all can take a look at him and and get in contact with him because he would like to probably hear from you all.
All right, we'll do. Thanks for calling, Regina from Richmond, Virginia. Let's go to Ken.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Ken in King George. Hello, Ken.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Just read an article, or somebody shared it from the Federalist. It looks like there's now 64 counties here in Virginia.
Damn.
That have become. And
that tripled since the last show.
Well,
it was 20-some, right?
I shared. So one of the guys I work with started a King George Second Amendment Sanctuary, group on Facebook, and it's been rapidly growing. And one of the guys, when I posted that story, I got some feedback that said that by the end of this week we should be close to somewhere around 80. Now I know Westmoreland County, I think I brought this up the last time.
You did.
Is going to vote on Wednesday, and I'm not sure what other counties are looking to vote as well. But there was also something I saw. I think Regina shared it in the other chat that we had. That there was a rally down in Richmond this afternoon. I wish you would have kind of touched on that a little more while she was on the phone. So, but it looks like there was a pretty good presence down there too. So,
I don't know about Richmond. I mean, Richmond's pretty left wing.
These people weren't from Richmond. They had a rally with had something to do with faith and guns, but it was sponsored, I believe, by the Virginia Citizens Defense League. So they're also looking to rally some people on the January 20th down at the in front of the down in Richmond as well. So,
well, I'll tell you, the whole thing that's going on in Virginia, Ken, is a little scary. I mean, it's if you look back at the origins of the original American Revolution, and you look at some of the things that sparked that, the coercive, what was it called? The coercive acts that were gun control acts in the original 13 colonies is actually what sparked the actual fighting, some of the fighting in the Revolutionary War. And I think what's shaping up right now. Go ahead.
And on top of that, being taxed by King George, and not being able to reap any of the benefits from it here, while you're living like a fat cat across the ocean, we're doing all the labor over here, and that's one of the reasons that sparked the Boston Tea Party. So,
right. I mean, there was a situation, and it was called the powder alarm, as it became known. And in New England, by the end of the day that passed, 20,000 militiamen had mobilized and started marching toward Boston, and also in Connecticut and Massachusetts. I mean, this is what galvanized a lot of the patriots during the Revolutionary War, and like I was saying, it's setting up to happen again, right in your state, man. You're right there at ground zero. I mean, this is going to end up being a battle between Virginians, and I would imagine that just like during the Revolutionary War, you're going to get support. I'm certainly going to support you. I don't know what that is going to materialize as, but it's no joke, man. We are living in historic times, sir, and you are living right at ground zero of it.
Oh yeah. Now the best case scenario that can come out of this is, now I don't know where the hell the NRA is. They should be blowing the horn, left and right, because their headquarters is right here in Virginia. But I haven't heard a peep out of anybody. So, I mean,
they're probably too worried about NRA TV and Dana Lash.
Well, so that's where, like in your case, you've got it's Kim, right? Kelly Kim. Firearms Owners Against.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, Kim Stoffel.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of where the BCDL is kind of stepping in here at the local level.
BCDL.
Virginia Citizens Defense League.
Okay.
So, I mean, they've got a website and everything.
Do you know any of those people?
Not personally, no.
I'd like to get Mona on that.
Okay.
I'd like to talk to somebody from there. Yeah.
Okay.
We talk about it offline, but continue your final thoughts.
Well, it
doesn't have to be doesn't have to be your final thoughts, but go ahead.
Well, I forget who the heck Mornings on the Mall had on this morning. He's one of these lawyers that they bring on a regular basis, but he was talking about this whole IT report.
Joe DeGenova?
It might have been Joe. I caught it while I was going through the gate this morning, going to work, and there was some other stuff that happened. So anyways, routine stuff. But anyways, he was talking about, if this report doesn't call out these, Comey and Clapper and Brennan and all these higher ups in the FBI and the intelligence community as a whole, that, then there's no point in pursuing this whole thing with this IG report. So,
well, actually, Ken, the way I look at it is, I don't care if anything got released in Horowitz's report, because that really doesn't matter. It has, it's damning, but it has no teeth. Now, Durham's going to have teeth because he has subpoena power, he has a grand jury power, and it's already a criminal investigation. So, he has so much more latitude that he can do things. And the fact that they were just in, where was it, Italy? Was it Italy, Hutch?
Yeah.
I think it was Italy. Yeah, so they're all over the place. It's not just Ukraine that they're focusing on. So I think that Durham's going to go far and wide, so far beyond what the Horowitz report is. that it's going to encompass a lot more stuff, and you're going to see all of them. Comey, Clapper, McCabe, every single one of them. Brennan, every one of them's going to turn around and throw Obama under the bus.
But the thing is,
because it's already, it's in Horowitz.
The thing is,
they've already blamed him.
We have to demand, and this is going to sting to a lot of people. It really is. But we have to demand that they investigate the Republicans. Because if they don't, and we end up with Trump for 5 more years, and we end up with a House majority, and we end up with a Senate majority, ladies and gentlemen, we already had that.
Yep.
We had that, statement. But we had Paul Ryan as the Speaker of the House, one of the biggest traitors to the United States of America that there ever was, and now he's running Fox News. Think about that.
Well, maybe that's the reason the Fox
I'm
News
pissed off over here. I'll tell you what, man. This whole thing.
Did you ever think about that, Hutch?
Yeah.
Did you ever think that Paul Ryan's the reason that they just took that hard left all of a sudden?
Yes. Him and the owners.
There was always, there was always the Wayne Williams, or what the hell's his name?
Juan Williams.
Juan Williams. No, I wasn't even thinking of Juan. I was thinking of Combs. They always had one or two lefties in there.
Yeah, and that was fine.
All of a sudden, it's for a contrast, for a debate, that's fine.
I used to always wonder. I can't believe these guys go to work every day. I mean, Combs used to get beat up every night. Juan Williams still does. I don't understand that.
Because Hannity's relentless.
I know. So is some of the other members on the 5.
So is Tucker. Tucker's relentless too, and so is Ingram. Like I said, the 3 late night people are the only ones that are worth a damn.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. All right, Ken.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a great evening.
Yep, you too. 412-206-6208. A little bit of time left to chime in yet. Let's go to, where are we going here? Portland, Oregon. Man, I should have brought this up when Marlene was on.
Hey,
good.
I got a question. Ralph just said something that Alan Combs is on. I thought Combs died.
Oh, he died a long time ago.
Three,
4 years ago.
I'm not sure who you're seeing on the radio, Ralph, but it might be the ghost of Alan Combs because he's been dead for a couple of years now.
Anytime I see anybody on the radio, man, I start looking at what's in my drink.
Well, there's that too.
But no, Portland, Oregon has decided to force new construction to include mandatory rest spaces for the homeless. Isn't that nice? Isn't that just grand?
Well, I got to ask questions. This is the part where I raise my hand.
Don't ask too many questions.
Now, when they say new okay, so you're building a new skyscraper.
You're contributing in a major way to the economy of a city in communist Oregon.
You have to put like shade under there, so
like mezzanine holding cell or something.
Exactly, so they can pitch tents, right?
No, this is inside. No, this is inside.
Oh,
this is inside resting spaces. I mean, they have to make the floor to where, how in your basement, if you live in a well-constructed abode, how the floor of the basement all goes toward the drain. Mm-hmm. Kind of like in a garage, or whatever. Sure. You'd have to have one of those for all the bodily fluids and everything. You'd have to have showers. Oh, it'd be horrible, man. But who are they to do that? I mean, the things the left comes up with are just so anti-everything. It's like anti-common sense, just anti. These people are sick, man. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, you look at California, which is a shame. I mean, what's happening in San Francisco and L.A. is a travesty.
It is.
And folks, I want you to remember when you see this, this is the utopia that they have planned for the rest of us.
Yes.
California
absolutely.
is the blueprint for what the Democrats want to do. And so if you want to see how quick something's going to fall apart and the wheels are going to come off the bus, start looking at San Francisco and LA and watch how quick. I mean,
and Portland.
They can't afford anything.
Portland's
coming too.
Portland's no slacker, man. They're right up there.
They're up there, but nobody can touch Gavin Newsom for being a complete moron.
That's true. That's true too.
I mean, Gavin.
Who else?
You know what? His aunt's Nancy, right? Did you know that? Right?
No, I didn't know that.
Pelosi's his aunt.
No, I did not know that at all. I believe it, but I didn't know it.
You thought it? Look at him.
Oh, I believe it. Now, I missed something. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I had this all set up too. I had an additional comment about the Lindsey Graham and the Senate situation from Sundance, who is an authority on all of this. I would ask everybody to go to the Conservative Treehouse and read this guy's daily work. He's beyond. There's nobody that can keep up with Sundance. He's got all of the research capability. He's got it all down. I want you to listen what he said about Lindsey Graham concerning that clip. These comments by Senator Lindsey Graham are very self-serving. Why? Because Senator Graham participated in the exploitation of Ukraine for his own benefit. In essence, Graham is fearful that too much inquiry into what took place with Ukraine in 2014 through 2016 will expose his own participation and effort along with former Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch. Graham is attempting to end the impeachment effort because the underlying discoveries have the potential to expose the network of congressional influence agents. John McCain and Graham himself included during any witness testimony. Rudy Giuliani, please uncover the dirt on the Republicans. Let's go to Missouri and Ralph. What's going on, Ralph?
Yeah, thanks for the correction on Alan Colmes. I honestly did not know that man had died back in 2017. But anyway, look, we're winning here, okay? Everything, I know we're cynical and worry about, somebody's not going to get arrested or whatever. But look at, like you guys have been talking about, they're not out there just
Ralph, you're breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit. Can you move a little bit somewhere? Or? I can still hear you. Here he goes.
No, I can't.
He's coming back. Can you hear me now, Ralph? You still there? Oh, he went totally out. All right. Well, we'll wait and see if he comes back in here. I don't know what happened there. Ralph, call back in. Call back in. I don't know what happened. Call back in. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. Damn. I disconnected him right when I heard him say, "Are you there?" Sorry about that, Ralph. Call back in, man. I want to hear from you. I do.
I'll do this real quick because I went and looked it up just to make sure that I was saying the correct thing because I don't want to be the purveyor of fake news. And
no, Ralph looked it up too.
Is Nancy Pelosi Gavin Newsom's aunt was the question. And the correct answer is yes, Nancy Pelosi is Gavin Newsom's aunt by marriage.
Wow.
Belinda Barbara Newsom, aunt of Gavin Newsom, married Nancy Pelosi's brother, making her Pelosi's sister-in-law and making Pelosi Gavin's aunt by marriage.
How about that?
So man? There we have that.
That is unbelievable. That is something that's it's not unbelievable. I just didn't know it. I think it's pretty impressive. And Ralph is back. What's going on, Ralph? Sorry about that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyways, first off, the Democrats are not going to stop, like I've said before in previous calls. They're going to really lose their cookies But everything, what this whole mess right now with the impeachment was to knock Trump's numbers down and gain maybe a couple of middle-of-the-road Republicans to go along so they could jump for joy and claim bipartisanship. Unfortunately, this thing has blown up in their face. The Republicans are rallied. They're all speaking up and screaming and yelling at the chairmen and all this other stuff and putting signs up behind them that says something stupid about the Democrats and their evidence. They have no evidence. So the Dems are flipping desperate because Trump's numbers today was at 52%.
It's lovely.
And they're going to continue to climb. And that's what they've done since this was announced.
But my point, I stick by my point, though. Okay, that's fine with the president. But if you have a president who's the best president in the world and you have his loyalists, you have the Republicans in his party in the Senate, all corrupt, it doesn't matter. We're going to have executive branch victories, but the American government is not run by the executive branch.
I mean, you're right, Hutch. I mean, a lot of what President Trump has been able to do, he's been able to do through executive order because he couldn't get anything through the House.
Imagine if he had an honest Republican Senate.
Absolutely. But now think about this.
Just honest. They don't even have to be superstars.
As of right now, there's 31 congressional Democrats that are vulnerable. I mean, and that's the nicest way to put it. They're vulnerable because if they vote against Trump, I mean, because these 31 are all in states or in districts that Trump won big. And so if they vote against Trump, they're, I mean, and McCarthy basically told them, put them on notice. You vote against this president, the GOP has the cash and they're going to just go into these areas.
Yes,
and go,
they do.
Okay. Connor Lamb voted against President Trump, and that's all we're going to hear in Pennsylvania for the next 6 months.
That's what I've been saying. That's right. That's right.
Is how Connor Lamb voted against President Trump.
Now, to Ralph's point, Ralph, you are correct. We are winning when it comes to the tactics, the tactical side of today's argument. My argument is more on the strategic side.
Yeah, what comes next?
Yeah, how can we not be here again? Can you imagine, Ralph? I want to see if you look at this the same way as I do. When I see this situation in Ukraine, and then it immediately bubbles over into China, and then right after that, we're over into Cyprus, I have an hypothesis that this is the way that the federal government, the Congress, the CODELs, congressional delegations and whatnot, the diplomats, the State Department, the CIA, this is the way they deal with everybody.
Yeah, but Trump has come out of it smelling like a rose. They couldn't lay a glove on him. They've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at him from all those departments that you just spoke about and tried to crucify him in these stupid impeachment fiascos and all that. And any of the moderate Republicans and that were part of those committees, you can hear them talk, and they're like, screw this. My point being is they gravitate to power.
Yeah.
Okay? Trump comes in there, like Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, I will lead you. You will not like me, but I will show you the way. Right. And he showed how to screw with the media and the Democrats, take the slings and arrows and stand there and go, to you, And you notice he shut down the press conferences every day with the press secretary. He just does it out there with Marine One halfway piped up with the whine of the turbines and stands there, say what? They don't get their faces on camera anymore.
That's right. That's right. That was a brilliant move.
Yeah, Mr. President. You're like, who are you? Go ahead, talk. And then if they ask a stupid question, he tells them that's a stupid question.
Yeah, he does.
A stupid network, CNN as usual. He likes to kick in the head. and he moves right on.
I think that's one of the reasons too that he became so popular, is because he called it the way. He broke all the molds, and it's like I said from the beginning, we've been too politically correct, and Trump was the anti-politically correct. He came out and just said what he thought, and all the politicians went, "Oh, well, this isn't tested." Because they can't speak without having it run through some sort of a gadget that determines whether or not this is going to provide a good soundbite. Where Trump doesn't care about sound bites. He just says what he says and then moves on. And that's what America wants.
He gets results. That's Absolutely. What he does. And then what Hutch was bouncing around with all the, Syria and all that. Today in the news, you can look it up, Putin and Yanovich or whatever, Zelensky, from Ukraine, were shown sitting down at a table with Macron, kind of like standing there with a possum-eating grin like he's negotiating peace talks between these two and all that. But on that particular point, when Trump said, and he gets the anti-Trumpers or never-Trumpers, whatever, and all these generals and everybody that said, "You're screwing up, Mr. President," he pulls the troops out. 2 weeks later, the Kurds got back up. We never left the Kurds because, according to Trump, we're still talking to them, and they helped us out with the Baghdadi hit and all that. And then he keeps the oil, tells Hassan to piss off because he's going to keep the oil rigs, and you go from there. And everybody else is standing around, gosh damn, he did it.
But that's his MO, right? He comes in and says, "This is what we need to do," and then he goes and does it. We need to get rid of these stupid regulations in order to make business thrive again. So President Obama did it with a pen and a phone. I guess I can too. So he undid everything that Obama did. And that's why they keep saying, what about his legacy? He has no legacy. Because his entire legacy was done through, other than Obamacare, was done through executive order. So Trump can undo every one of those executive orders by just writing another executive order. And he did. And if you'll notice, that's when the economy came back. These idiots are out there trying to say that because this was all started under Obama. Yeah, you're right. It started to crash under Obama. Trump came in, undid what Obama did, and then we start moving forward. That's what this guy does. He sees the problem, he addresses the problem, then we move on to the next issue.
Now, I want to just make sure that everybody realizes the deal here, because a lot of times, we're the same in a way as the Democrats. In other words, we're partisans, and we rally to our side and our, frame of references and things like that. But let's not forget that this Senate was corrupt during the Obama administration, during the second Bush administration, during the Clinton administration, during the first Bush administration, during the Reagan administration. They've been corrupt for 100 years, folks. Sure. It doesn't matter the party. And until we fix that, we're not going to get the conservative governance that we need, in my opinion. Final thoughts, guys.
I don't even think it's a matter of getting all the Republican or all the Democrat that we need. I think what we need to do is just root out the bad guys.
That's my point.
You're absolutely right. I mean, we just root out the bad guys. We got some good guys that are in there.
Yep.
I mean, Getz is phenomenal. I really like Getz. I really like Jim Jordan. And a lot of them I didn't know until I start watching the impeachments. And then you see these guys are stepping up. Ratcliffe,
Collins,
Getz.
Getz.
What's together? Gobert. Yeah. I mean, all of them are standing up and doing what we want them to do. And so we're actually seeing that. So there's some that I think that we could say, okay, you pass muster. But the ones that don't, we gotta. I don't care if they have an R next to their name. If they're detrimental, as in Lindsey Graham, detrimental to our republic, what we do is, you know what? Somebody can run against him in South Carolina, and there's a whole get behind him,
and there's 100,000 combat vets out there. Oh, well over 100,000. Get out there and do what you got. All right, Ralph, your final comments, and thank you for calling.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, another thing too. The USMCA. Nancy's trying to quote this thing, I think, to try to draw some Republicans in, because I find it funny that here we are, they're wanting to get an end to this and all that, and somehow that some of these Republicans are talking that, you know, we should have done it 5 months ago, but we're going to talk USMCA trade deal ratification. And I'm like, you guys could have done this in 20 minutes and she brought it to the full vote.
Well, the only reason she's bringing it up now is she's trying to deflect attention from the failed impeachment hearings and the IG report. So it's going to be, you know, she's trying to get the media to be going, you know, USMCA, that's what we're working on. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And you're absolutely right. They could have, this is a sign off rubber stamp thing. You could take this vote in the parking lot and everybody, pass. You're not going to get anybody to vote against it. Nancy doesn't want us to vote, doesn't want them to vote for it, because if they do, that gives Trump a win, and it's going to give him a big win.
That's true.
That's why she's like, okay, and she's slow burning this thing, dragging her feet, but now she needs that in order to get some of the heat off of her party, and that's what's coming up.
Now, Ralph, before I let you go, we're almost out of time here. I want to get your reaction to some very eloquent inventory control type of language. Let's just do this again.
$1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened?
So what do you feel on that? Just to end it on a light note.
Has senility setting in. And just remember that if he got elected, he's the one that's going to have the biscuit around his neck.
You know it, man.
He's off on an 85-year-old, wait till some foreign leader, you know, pisses him off or whatever. And he's like, I want to strike. Okay, here we go.
Well, you know, as long as you're articulate and clean and black, you're probably okay under Joe Biden, though. The guy is a train wreck. He's a train wreck, man. It's unbelievable.
I mean, he's coming with one gap at least 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, depending on how many he's got to make or how many open forum questions he gets from a town hall meeting.
Well, he was Obama's insurance policy. Yeah. Because with him as the vice president, ain't nobody going to take a shot at Obama.
And that worked. All right, Ralph, thanks for calling, and thanks for listening to the show. Always appreciate your opinion. All right, Ralph from Missouri, ladies and gentlemen. That's about it, Ward. We're about out of time. So how can people get in touch with you, and any final thoughts, my man?
The only final thoughts I have is you can find me on Twitter at Wardy22. Come back and see us next week. God bless America.
There you go, man. I'll tell you, we're getting ready for CPAC. Got some equipment en route. We're going to outfit this right, and I'm going to talk to Ward in the next several days. I've got a broadcast quality camera that Ward doesn't even know about, and he's a video expert, so we might have video from CPAC. I have to talk to him about that, but I should have talked to him beforehand before I said anything.
I thought it was already decided that we had the faces for radio.
Yeah, I know, but some of these guests. Some of these guests, man, you gotta.
We might have some good-looking guests.
That's right.
We'll set it up so the cameras on.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out for Cold War Radio Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern. 2 hours for now. Let's get in there to SteelCityResistance.com and become a Cold War Radio patron. We're out here 3 nights a week. You become a patron, you get to hear Berg's Eye View, too. And I got to tell you, some of those episodes, we didn't even call them episodes. We called them drunk-episodes. So some of them are kind of funny. But anyway, that being said, we're here to report the news and our opinions on the news. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. Please go to rsbn.bandcamp.com and support Jacob Seals. Also, MadisonRising.com coming up next. Thanks for coming out. Once again, please tell your friends about the show. Become a patron. Thanks for letting us into your life, ladies and gentlemen, for 2 hours. God bless.
Have all fallen back home where I'm from. Thanksgiving's come, Thanksgiving's gone, and my family tells stories around their Christmas tree in a warm living room on Christmas Eve. And the candlelight shimmers as I write down the song. Place far away, family and home as the pen hits the paper. Shadows grow long, but I stay here a soldier. Just me and my gun on this Christmas, I'll tell you the truth in my heart. From a place that's forgotten, time, God, and love, I'll stay here, man. My word and faith, there's nothing in this world that I wouldn't trade to go home. Christmas Day, get me out to the end. Who am I to wish for my own more than them? They gave their full measure till nothing was left. For all our freedom, they gave the last breath. They gave it with honor, faith, trust, and love. It just doesn't seem fair. They'll never get to go home. No, they'll never go home. They've all soldiered on to march with the Lord. May peace learn grace, find their families this day. 'Cause we remember the price, that sacrifice that each of them gave. On this Christmas, they had nothing left. On this Christmas, they gave their last breath. On this Christmas, stay strong in the fight. Christmas Day, it's Black Night. On this Christmas, thank you with all of our hearts. On this Christmas, never understand what you lost. On this Christmas, fight Christmas Day. No, not die in vain on this Christmas. Leaves are all falling back home where I'm from. Thanksgiving's come, Thanksgiving's gone, but I stay in the fight. I'll soldier on for the ones who will never come home.
I really can't stay.
Okay, you're free to go.
I've got to go away.
Understood, no means no.
This evening has been
Super
so
appropriate.
very nice.
But I do understand
My mother
consent.
will start to worry.
Definitely text her right
And Father will
now.
be pacing the floor.
Here's the code and there is the
so
door.
really I'd better scurry.
I am gonna stand over
well, maybe
here.
just a half a drink
You
more.
are in control of this
The neighbors might
thing. Invite them over if you like.
Say, what's in this drink?
Nothing but Sprite.
I wish I knew how
Just walk right out
to
the
break
door.
the spell.
I do know how to spell harassment.
No,
I
sir.
hear you loud and
At least I'm
clear.
gonna say that I tried.
I'm trying super
I really
hard.
can't stay.
Please just go out, baby.
but
Just
it's
go
cold
outside.
I simply must go.
Uber is right outside.
The answer is no.
Seriously, right
The
outside.
welcome has been
I'll walk you to
so
the
nice and
curb,
warm.
but totally consensual.
There's bound to be talk tomorrow.
Hopefully not about
At least
us.
there will be plenty implied.
Please do not imply anything.
I really can't stay.
Baby, just go out. Baby,
Baby,
just
it's
go. Baby,
it's
just go
cold
outside.
Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus? The vato with a bony knees, he's coming down the street with no shoes on his feet, and he's going to... No, that ain't it. Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus? The guy with the hair on his jaws, Hey, man, come over here, man. I need some help, man.
Yeah, man, I can dig that. Like, what are you doing, man?
I'm trying to write a song about Santa Claus, man, but it's not coming
About
out.
who, man?
About Santa Claus, man. You know Santa Claus, man.
Oh, yeah, man. I played with
need
those
some
dudes, man.
What?
Yeah, last year at the Fillmore, man. Me and the bass player sat in, man. It was a
Oh,
good
hey, man,
session,
you think Santa Claus is a groove, huh? No, it's not a groove, man.
Would they break up, man?
Oh, no, man, it's one guy, man. You know, he had a red suit on, man, with black patent leather shoes. You know the guy. guy, man?
Oh, yeah. He's with Motown, ain't he?
No, man.
Yeah, I
he's
played
not
with that dude, too, man.
No,
yeah, he's a good singer, man.
No, hold on, man. He's not with Motown, man.
Well, then he's with Buddha, man.
Oh, man, you don't know who Santa Claus is, man.
Yeah, well, I'm not from here, man. Like, I'm from Pittsburgh, man. I don't know too many local dudes.
Oh, I see. Well, hey, man, sit back and relax, and I'll tell you the story about Santa Claus, man. Listen, once upon a time, about 5 years ago, there was this groovy dude, and his name was Santa Claus, you know? And he used to live over in the projects with his old lady. And they had a pretty good thing together because his old lady was really fine and she could cook and all that stuff like that. You know, like she made the best brownies in town, man. Oh, I could remember them now, man. I could eat one of them, man.
Wow, did you know these people, man?
Oh, yeah, man. They used to live next door to me, you know, until they got kicked out, man.
What, they got kicked out of the projects, man?
Yeah, you know what happened, man? They used to live with all these midgets, you know? And the midgets used to make a lot of noise, you know, like pounding and hammering and pounding all night, man. Wow.
Typical freaks, man.
Yeah, man, they were really freaks, man. As a matter of fact, they all moved up north together, you know.
Oh, they have to go get their head together, man.
Yeah, get their head together, man. And they started a commune, you know. It was called the Santa Claus and His Old Lady commune. It was a real famous one up there, man. And they used to sit around and groove all the time, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Really good time, man.
Hey, that sounds heavy.
Eat the brownies, man. They drink the tea, man. And what they did most of the time, though, was make a lot of goodies, you know. And they had everything they needed. They only needed to come into town maybe once a year or something like that.
Pick up the welfare check and the food stamp.
Yeah, man. No, what they did, man, is once a year, when they made all the goodies, you know, they used to put them in a big chopping bag, and then they used to take the chopping bag and deliver them to all the boys and girls all the way around the world,
Hey,
man.
well, that's it, man.
Yeah,
that sounds real nice.
Oh, yeah, they were really nice people, man. And so much class, man. They had so much class, you know, like even take the way they used to deliver the toys, you know. It's like Santa Claus used to have this really sharp short, man, you know. It was lowered to the ground, had twice pipes, candy apple red, and button tuck. Ooh, clean.
Man, that sounds like a hip snowmobile, man.
No, it wasn't a snowmobile. It was a sled, you know. One of those big sleds, you know. And he used to have it pulled by some reindeers, you know, like reindeers.
Some what, man?
Some reindeers, you know. He used to hook them onto the sled, and then he used to stand up inside the sled and hold onto the reins, and then call out their names, like, on Donner, on Blitzen, on Chewy, on Tavo, come on, Beto. And then the reindeers used to take off into the sky and fly across the sky, man.
Wow, man, that's far out, man.
Yeah, and then when they flied across the sky, they used to come down to places like Chicago, LA, Nueva York, and Pacoima, and all those places, you know, and then land on top of people's roofs, and then old Santa Claus would make himself real small, you know, like a real small guy, and he'd come down the chimney, and then he would give you all the stuff that he made, man. And dig this, man, he did it all in one night, man.
Hey, just a minute, man. Now, how'd he do that, man?
Oh, well, man, he took the freeway. How else, man?
No, man. No, man. How did he do all that other stuff, man? Like, how'd he make himself small, man? And how'd he get the reindeer off the ground, man?
Oh, well, man, he had some magic dust, man.
Some magic dust?
Yeah, magic dust. You know, he used to give a little bit to the reindeer, a little bit to Santa Claus, a little bit more for Santa Claus, a little bit more.
And this would get the reindeer off, man?
Oh, got him off, man. Are you kidding, man? They flew all the way around the world, man.
Hey, that's far out, man. Hey, how come I've never met this dude, man?
Oh, man, he doesn't do that bit anymore, man. It got too dangerous, man.
Yeah, I can dig that, man, because that's a dangerous bit, man.
Yeah, let me tell you, it sure was, man. Like, just 2 years ago, man, he got stopped at the border, you know, and they took him into another room and took off his clothes, man, and searched him and searched his bag of goodies, man. And then when he was leaving, man, he was flying through the air, somebody took a shot at his reindeer, you know?
Oh, that's a drag,
Yeah,
man.
it really was, man. And then, man, he went down south, man, and they tried to cut off his hair and his beard, man. And all the time he was getting stopped and pulled over and asked for his ID, man. Just everywhere he went, he ran into too much recession, man.
No, man, you mean he ran into too much repression, man.
Repression, recession, man. It's all the same thing, man.
Yeah, man. It's a drag, man, because we could sure use a dude like that right now.
Oh, he still comes around, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but he comes in disguises now.
Oh, he went underground.
Yeah, underground, man.
I can dig it.
Yeah. Hey, but you want to see his disguise, man? Nobody would ever know it was him, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's got a job in front of the department store, ringing this bell and playing this tambourine next to this black pot, you know?
Oh, I seen the dude.
Yeah,
man.
you know who I'm talking about,
man.
Yeah.
I played with that cat last year, man.
What?
Yeah, we played in front of a store, man. We made a lot of bread.
Hey,
man.
wait a minute, man. Santa Claus is not a musician, man.
I'm hip, man. That cat didn't know any tunes, man.
Oh, hey, wait a minute, man. No, he's not into that at all, man.
No, I played with this dude.
Are you sure, man?
I'm positive.
Mele-Kalikimaka is a thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day. That's the island greeting that we send to you from the land where palm trees sway. Here we know that Christmas will be green and bright, the sun to shine by day and all the stars at night.
Mele-Kalikimaka is
a wise way to
say Merry Christmas to you.
Mele-Kalikimaka is a thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day. That's the island greeting that we send to you from the land where palm trees sway. Here we know that Christmas will be green and bright, the sun to shine by day and all the stars at night. Mele-Kalikimaka is Hawaii's way to say Merry Christmas to you. Here we know that Christmas will be green and bright, the sun to shine by day and all the stars at night.
Mele-Kalikimaka is a wise way
to say Merry Christmas to you. Mele-Kalikimaka is a thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day. That's the island greeting that we send to you from the land where palm trees sway.
Here we know that Christmas will be green and bright,
the sun to shine by day and all the stars at night. Mele-Kalikimaka is a wise way to say Merry Christmas.
A very Merry Christmas.
A very, very Merry, Merry Christmas to you.
12-Hour delivers fast, powerful cough relief that lasts up to 12 hours. New Robitussin 12-Hour Cough Relief, because it's never just a cough.
Little Lep, where have you been?
Naughty.
Hey, that's right. I ought to naughty you. Keeping me from my rounds. I'm late as it is. Now stay put. Don't go anywhere till I get back. Understand me?
Nice.
Christmas trees. Decorate the house with lights at night. Snow's on the ground, snow white so bright. In the fireplace is the Yule log. Beneath the mistletoe as we drink eggnog. The rhymes that you hear are the rhymes of carols. Like each and every year we bust Christmas carols. Christmas carols.
Yo, come on, let's check. You ain't just the man from last night? Santa, Macy's. Yo, man, let's go eat, man. I'm starved. Come on, man. Yo.
Run so loud and proud you hear it. It's Christmas time and we got the spirit. Jack was chilling, the hawk is out, and that's what Christmas is all about. The time is now, the place is here, and the whole wide world is filled with cheer. My name's DMC with the mic in my hand, and I'm chilling and cooling just like a snowman. So open your eyes, lend us an ear. We want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!
Jim Sapienza, ladies and gentlemen.
You can leave your heart in Frisco, make it big in old New York, lose the blues in Chicago. I won't sell those cities short. You can roam from Nome to San Antone, then Memphis to L.A. But if young's ever come to Pittsburgh, it's for sure you'll want to stay. Come see the Steelers and the Pirates. What a town. Have a ball, hail the Panthers, cheer the Penguins. Pittsburgh has them all. You can ride the subway underneath the city, where three rivers meet. The girls are pretty. It's my city, yeah, and it's big time, with a small town heart and lots of friendly people. That sets us all apart from any other city in the USA. I love Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, From the airport through the tunnels to the city, that panoramic view will make you giddy. It's my city and it's big time, with a small town heart and lots of friendly people, and that sets us all apart from any other city in the USA. I love Pittsburgh, my favorite city. I love Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, PA.
Thanks for coming out, everybody. Great show as usual. Merry Christmas. We will continue the Christmas spirit. God bless. Catch you on Wednesday.